We're now joined by CBS Sports MLB analyst and former Major League exec Jim Bowden, and it was yet another offensive explosion for Toronto. This is now 23 runs across the Blue Jays' first two games as they now go up 2-0 in this series. Jim, have the Jays figured out how to attack New York's pitching? What do you attest their success to open up this series to?
Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, the Toronto Blue Jays, the one thing they do is they make contact. There was no team in the American League that made more contact than the Toronto Blue Jays. They don't strike out. They put the ball in play, and they were very aggressive early in the count. And their $500 million first base superstar told this team, get on my back, I'm going to carry you. He went 3 for 5. Drove in 4 runs, hit a home run. Dalton Varsho also going 4 for 5 with 4 RBIs in this game, including 2 homers and 2 doubles. But the big story in this game really wasn't the bats. Even though they dominated at the plate, the big story was the starting pitcher, the rookie, Trey LaSavage. Another star was born, this time north of the border. He threw 5 1/3 no-hit innings against these New York Yankees with 11 punch-outs in the 5 1/3 innings, and 8 of them came on that split finger. So, you know, not just throwing 98, 99, but that split finger was just absolutely unhittable by the Yankee hitters. And because they had such a big lead, Kiana, the manager was able to take LaSavage out after 5 1/3 and save him in case he needs him for a game 5. So that was very smart. But to your point, the Blue Jays have outscored the Yankees 23-8 over the first 2 games. Without a doubt, they are flexing their muscles in the biceps. But now the series goes back to the Bronx, and the Bronx will have Carlos Rodon and Cam Schlittler going on the mound for them. Shane Bieber will pitch Tuesday's game for Toronto. This series is not over. It's best of 5. But certainly Toronto is taking a commanding lead.
We definitely got to give some props to Trey LaSavage and what he did, set a strikeout record for the Blue Jays. He also, the second youngest pitcher with double-digit strikeouts in postseason play, so having himself certainly a day. But even in defeat, New York showed a little life late in that game, putting up 7 runs in the 6th and 7th. Is that rally meaningful as we get set to head to the Bronx? What adjustments are needed as we prepare for Game 3 on Tuesday?
Yeah, I definitely think it helps. I think, number one, it shows that they have fight in them, right? It would have been easy to just roll over and get out of there. That's not what they did. They grinded. You know, they scored 7 runs against Toronto, so they had a good day at the plate. I think that momentum will carry themselves when they get back to New York. And look, when it gets back to the Bronx, we're going to have to see Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton do damage. We're going to have to see the long ball from this Yankee team. Look, Toronto's going to put the ball in play. They're going to move the runners. That's what they do. Toronto's an elite defensive team. They're the best defensive team in the American League, so they have a lot of things going for them. For the Yankees to win, their power bats have to show up at Yankee Stadium. And look, they just got to take one game at a time. They've got Rodon on the mound against Bieber. That's a really good pitching matchup on both sides, and we'll see what they can do at home. But this series is not over yet. Yankees still have a chance to come back.
All right, well, I don't want to get too ahead of myself here, Jim, but I'm kind of taking a step back and looking at this. How much pressure is on Aaron Boone? And I'm saying, is he in trouble? Say Game 3 does not go in their favor.
No, but if you're a taxi driver in New York right now, you're telling everyone if the Yankees don't come back and win the series, Boone's going to get fired, Cashman's going to get fired. How do I know this? Because I always ride the cabs in New York in October, and I hear the same thing every single year. Look, the Yankees extended Brian Cashman's contract during spring training last year. He's under a long-term deal. Brian Cashman is signed. They're going nowhere. But look, they'll give the speech that we're going to evaluate each other and look at it. Look, the New York Yankees know who the GM and manager are going to be going forward. If they don't move on, I think the bigger question is going to be, will they re-sign Cody Bellinger? Will they re-sign Trent Grisham? Will they make a run at Kyle Tucker in free agency? Those are the questions that need to be asked rather than are they going to fire the manager or GM? Because, yes, everyone talks about it every fall. It's not going to happen.
Well, but, I mean, I think maybe hopefully all of the taxi drivers are tuning in to CBS Sports HQ to hear that right there. But obviously, we can't get too far ahead because we still have to focus on what they need to get done on Tuesday. But, Jim, as for Sunday night's encore, Jorge Polanco became the first player since 2021 to homer not once but twice off Tarek Skubal in the same game. But then the Tigers scored 2 to respond, and then the Mariners, well, they respond right way off Julio Rodriguez double. But just give me your reaction to a fun one we had here in Seattle.
Yeah, it was phenomenal. I mean, it's the second 3-2 game we had, right? In game one, the Tigers win it 3-2 in 11 innings. Seattle comes back and wins this one 3-2. Both ended up being battles of the bullpen both times, with Detroit winning the first game and then, of course, Seattle winning this one. You brought up Jorge Polanco. I mean, what he did tonight was the difference in the game, really. Otherwise, Seattle loses to Skubal in this game. So it was in the 4th inning. Polanco hit a 2-0 slider out of the ballpark. It was a pretty good slider, not a bad pitch, but he hit that out. And then in the 6th inning, he got a 99-mile-an-hour fastball on a 3-2 pitch, and he hit that one out of the ballpark. So hit one on a slider and one on a home run. We thought that was going to be all they needed. It was a 2-0 game. Skubal had finished. We thought that was going to be it, but the Tigers don't give up. And all of a sudden, after Gabe Spire and Eduardo Bizzardo had pitched really well, all of a sudden, we ended up seeing a walk. We saw an error by Naylor, and then a questionable pitch by Matt Brash to Spencer Torkelson. He threw a fastball, and he hit a double down the right field line. All of a sudden, we were tied 2-2. Why he would throw a fastball there after Torkelson was just waving at the 4 previous sliders is beyond me. Now, all of a sudden, we got a game. But as you mentioned, they got to the bottom of the 8th, and they're big boys. They're superstars. The front runner for MVP, Cal Riley, and J-Rod had back-to-back doubles that gave him a 3-2 lead. And then the second-best closer in the American League, Andres Munoz, came in and said, good morning, good afternoon, and good night. Seattle wins it. They even the series. Now they all travel tomorrow to Detroit, to the Motor City, to listen to Eminem. I don't blame them. I love Eminem as well. And we got a series, and I love it because these guys are evenly matched. First 2 games, each team has scored 5 runs.
I love that you brought us to game 3 because you're saying these are 2 evenly matched teams. But what are your expectations now as we are heading to the Motor City? Like you said, we're bumping Eminem. But what are your expectations for the rest of the series as we now sit at a win each?
Yeah, so Kiana, I give the starting pitching advantage to Seattle in game 3. Logan Gilbert will be on the bump. He's got some of the best extension of any pitchers in the game. He could dominate. Jack Flaherty will be on the mound on the other side for Detroit. Flaherty has been in big games, right? He's pitched in elimination games. He's pitched in clinching games. But he's not the same pitcher he was a couple of years ago. So I give a slight edge, at least early in the game, to Gilbert. And then when we get in the later innings, what is going to be interesting is what the bullpens on both sides are going to be able to do, because Kiana, one thing we noticed today is the hitters are starting to get comfortable with the relievers after seeing them all the first 2 games. Now this will be the 3rd game where all these hitters have seen the relievers, and the more familiar the hitters get, the more likely it is that they do some damage. So I'm not so sure we're going to keep getting these 3-2 games. Don't be surprised if we see more runs scored in game 3. But I give a slight edge, even though it's on the road, to Seattle in game 3.
I'm sure Mariners fans thrilled to hear you say that. But listen, I'm going to tell you right now, I will sign up for some more offense because it has been fun so far. And it'll be exciting to see how game 3 takes shape. That is our MLB analyst, Jim Bowden. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Kiana.
And we now turn our attention to the National League. The Phillies will look to even the series after the Dodgers rallied late to stun them in Game 2. Blake Snell and Jesus Luzardo will take the bump. Then in that encore, Milwaukee will hope to carry some momentum over. Shota Imanaga taking on Aaron Ashby. That one to first pitch, 9:08 Eastern.